Well, now you can see why Steve 5.0 is definitely one of our most popular instructors. Social proof, actually, there's an example that I can think of from the Super Conference where you could really see how much that mattered. We go out, the Super Conference goes Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we actually go out to bars and clubs on the Friday and Saturday night with, all of our VIP level guys so that we can actually, see their game and give them coaching until they get it right, and they're picking up beautiful women as well. And then for them to see, instructors and the advanced students using the material to succeed with beautiful women, just so you can see all the little things that go into a solid pickup, and you have a model to follow. You have examples of successful pickups and so on. So, we take these guys out into small groups, and there was this guy, Jonathan, who, despite us giving him sort of very clear advice on how to make an entrance, he must have missed this session. And he did what we call social death. He did that long, slow lap around the club because he just wanted to check everything out. Staring at different groups of beautiful women. Really, you could see that he was psyching up his courage for the rest of the night. And that's a normal human reaction, but it's not a reaction that's going to help you very much. So if you've got that nervousness to get over before you go out, I strongly recommend actually doing something we call pre-approaches. Go to another bar or go to a restaurant, something like that. Do a couple of approaches that don't count, but get yourself in the habit of approaching, in the habit of talking, so that when you go out, to your main place, your main party or your main club or whatever, you're approaching right away. You don't have that kind of fear. So Jonathan did his long, slow lap, and then he did his first couple approaches, using these Love Systems methodology, and wasn't getting the results that everyone else was getting. And I kept trying to tell him, look, what you're doing is you're essentially playing the same video game as the rest of us. You've just made it at an infinitely harder level. Because all of these people, even if they don't remember seeing you, they kind of subconsciously remember, oh yeah, that's the guy who walked in by himself and wandered around looking lost and was trying to get up the courage to talk to girls. So you don't want to do that. Now, fortunately, we usually take guys to large clubs and clubs with a bunch of different rooms. So you mess up somewhere, no big deal. We just took him over to the next room. And I think he was the guy that actually had the threesome on the first night. I'm not sure about that. But, he definitely was a lot more successful in the other room. And you could just see, night and day difference on the guy that knows how to make the entrance and the guy who basically blows himself out in the first couple minutes. And then, for the rest of the night, he's in a lot more difficulty. Some key points from the talk. Number one, you can plan this stuff out. You can plan out your social proof. You can plan out your entrance. So it's not like something you think about the second you go into the club. And you're like, oh crap, I have no social proof, or how do I do this? Think about this beforehand. Make sure you've got a strategy. Make sure you've got, the right friends you're going out with. Cool guys, attractive women, whatever. Make sure you're in a group. Or if you're not, and sometimes you are going to be going out by yourself. We actually did an interview for the interview series that's called Sarging Solo about, step-by-step plan for when you're going out by yourself and you don't know anybody. But the first thing you've got to do is, do not be alone. Be talking to somebody at all times, whether it's a bartender, a group. Even approach a group of guys is much better than standing off by yourself, holding your drink, building up your courage. A couple other important points. Steve 5.0 talked about thin slicing. Thin slicing, it's a concept, or it's a word coined by Malcolm Gladwell in the book Blink, which I definitely recommend. And it basically refers to the idea that people will make judgments about you based on very limited information. And, we have to work that way because we don't have time to get to, just with people, we don't have time to get to know every possible person we're going to come across in our life. Women especially. I mean, women get an attractive woman, if you think she gets approached, I don't know, she goes out to a bar 5 or 10 times a night. Maybe she's out at different events a couple times a week. A woman in her early 20s, maybe that's been going out since she was 17 or 18, she's been approached literally 5,000 times or more. She doesn't have time to get to know every single one of those guys. So she'll make snap judgments. And, those snap judgments are based on things like how people are treating you, how confident you seem to be, how you're dressed, what your identity is, and so on. And that's why it's often said that a woman will, she won't decide whether to sleep with you in the first 90 seconds, but she'll decide if you're in the no pile or the maybe pile. And you want to avoid being in the no pile. So remember thin slicing. Perception is reality. I can't emphasize that point enough. How she sees you is what's important, whether it's accurate, whether her perception of you is accurate or not. I mean, if, say I wanted to say part of my identity was supposedly that I'm super wealthy, and I show up in, tattered clothes, I'm not conveying that identity, and there's no point, not that wealth is a great way to attract women anyway, but, it's no point arguing with somebody at that point, oh, no, I really am wealthy, when your perception doesn't show it. If you want to be a cool guy, don't argue with her that you're cool. Don't say, oh, I left all my cool clothes at home. She's not going to be thinking, wow, he would have looked awesome if he was wearing that. She'll think, all right, what a tool. So don't dream it, be it, if I can quote from that movie. As a final point, as something to remember, Steve 5.0 talked about short setting. And that can be really useful, especially at a party, or especially high-end venues or stuff like that, where everybody really kind of knows each other. People are a few degrees of separation, but everyone's kind of watching, and there's high social status. Go meet everybody early on. There's a whole bunch of good reasons for this. One is women that are attracted to you, they will reinitiate the conversations with you later on. Two, it makes you look like you know everybody. I mean, when you walk into a club or a bar or a party, not necessarily a party, but a club or a bar, act like it's your place. Walk around to people, ask if they're having fun. Put in act as if you would act if you were the owner. You're probably still going to have to pay for drinks if you probably can't take it that far. But, certainly with how you act towards, women and other guys there, just see if people are having fun, act like you're the host or whatever. And that's the type of social proof and the type of atmosphere that you want to convey to women.